Hi guys, and welcome back to Maqaroon. I'm Joanna, and in this video we'll be making two awesome color-changing slimes along with cute custom containers. The first one is a watermelon slime which starts off white and it ripens into a red color before your very eyes. The second one is an orange slime that turns into lemon slime with body heat. If you love making or selling slimes, then please make sure you're subscribed to Maqaroon and Cute Life Hacks. I've recently just made a huge discovery that literally changes everything we knew about making slime. I'll be sharing what I found out in 2 detailed tutorials over the next few weeks, so hit that bell button as well if you want to be the first to know what it is. But in the meantime, let's go back to this fun classical slime recipe and make some color-changing fruit putties. These fruit containers are inspired by the lip balm pots from this video here. This is a really easy method to create adorable packaging for your makeup or slimes. First, chew the end of a toothpick slightly so it resembles a tiny brush. Then place some white nail polish onto scrap card and begin drawing a circle around the edge of the lid. I find it's much easier if you use tiny dots and then join them up rather than trying to draw straight lines. The dotting method also looks more realistic since real oranges are slightly fuzzy on the inside. If you make a mistake, then you can simply use the other side of the toothpick to scrape off the paint. And depending on what sort of nail polish you use, you might have to go over the lines 2 or 3 times until they're fully opaque. Simply divide the top into 8 sections and your citrus fruit lid is ready. So for this slime, I'm going to be using thermal activated color pigments. I bought this from solarcolordust.com and I've included all the links below. This one is cold activated, which means it's orange at lower temperatures and yellow when it warms up. Of course, it's perfectly fine to skip this part and just use food coloring, pastel dust, or whatever you have at home. You'll still get a really cute fruit slime just without the color changing effect. The recipe for this is also really easy. First, squeeze 2 peel-off face masks into a bowl. This is the same as 16 milliliters or 1 large tablespoon. Then add 2 pinches of baking soda. Now add some thermal pigments, and I'm pretty sure I used a bit too much here since the color is super concentrated. If you sell your slimes and you're trying to cut costs, then you can mix a tiny bit of powder inside and then place it inside the freezer for a while to see if the color changes. Keep doing this until you find the minimum amount needed to produce the desired effect. Once everything is mixed inside, add 1 or 2 teaspoons of water. 1 spoonful gives you a putty-like slime, and 2 spoonfuls gives you a more slippery slime. And lastly, add half a teaspoon of contact lens solution. Now stir everything thoroughly and you should see the slime start coming together right away. There shouldn't be anything left on the bowl or spoon. If it still feels too sticky on skin, then you can wet your fingers with a tiny bit of contact lens solution and rub this inside. Slime also becomes firmer when you play with it, so you can simply squish it around a bit until you have the right consistency. Now you can place everything inside your container. Since the slime is cold activated, I'm going to leave it in the freezer for about a minute. Make sure you don't forget it, otherwise you end up freezing your slime solid. So here's the cooled down version, and it's turned into a really intense blood orange color. When you press on it, your body heat changes it back to yellow, which is really fun to play with. This effect can be repeated as often as you like. And by the way, these face mask slimes hold up really well. I used almost exactly the same recipe for my DIY highlighter putty a month ago, and those are still perfectly soft and stretchy. Now let's make the watermelon version. I've also placed links down below where you can get these lip balm containers in bulk very cheaply. I'm using nail polish here, but acrylic paint works perfectly fine as well. If you decide to use paint, then you should also mix some white PVA glue inside, which helps to prevent it from flaking or chipping when dry. Begin by painting the side of the container green. You should apply several coats and make sure each layer is fully dry before adding the next. I used 3 coats of nail polish to get this effect. Just like before, take a toothpick and chew the end slightly to make a brush. Then start dotting in white paint or nail polish to make a circle. Try to work 1 or 2 millimeters from the edge so you can still see some green. And lastly, take some black nail polish and add in the seeds. I'm working in a circular shape, which keeps everything looking neat. As you can see here, I added the dots in the same places where we painted the lines on the orange. Then I finished up with 4 more seeds in the center. If you're happy with how everything looks, then you can go back and make the seeds slightly larger or more teardrop shaped. Leave this to dry and we can start making the slime. The recipe is exactly the same as before. 2 face masks, 2 pinches of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of water, and some UV powder. This time the color change will be activated by UV light or sunlight. I got this pigment from Sophie and Toffee as part of the e.l.f. subscription box. Shake the powder inside and mix well until everything is dissolved. Now add half a teaspoon of contact lens solution and stir until the slime comes together. This slime picks up dirt easily, so make sure your hands are completely clean when making it. If you poke or play with this against the table, then also check that everything is free of dust. Now your watermelon pots should be fully dry so you can place your slime inside. This looks pretty unspectacular right now, but just wait until you bring it into the sunlight. I was amazed at how fast the color changes, and I don't think I'll ever get tired of watching this. I'm playing with this in direct sunlight, so the color pigment reacts very strongly. You can also experiment with different levels of UV light, such as using it behind a window to create different shades of pink. And just like the thermal pigment, this effect is reversible, so you can play with it as often as you like. If you hold your hands over it or take it out of the sun, then the slime turns back to white very quickly. To get this shot, I held the slime out the window and ran back to my desk as fast as possible so I could film the pink color before it faded. Depending on where you live in the world, I think the UV pigment is a good project for summer, and the thermal pigment is a good DIY for winter. This one looks really satisfying when it starts to change color in layers. Both methods would also look great with a kiwi design and green slime, or a grapefruit design and pink slime. You can also paint emojis instead of fruit, like I did in my lip balm tutorial. I really hope you enjoyed this DIY, and please remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on my epic new slime tutorial coming very soon. You can also find me on Instagram under my username Maqaroon, and if you made anything using my videos, then I'd love to see them under my hashtag. By the way, I'm currently in the process of adjusting content on both channels so that they're more similar to each other. It's almost been 4 years since I started YouTube, and I really want to make sure that my editing style and videos stay up to date rather than sticking to a fixed format simply because I've always done so. A huge thank you to all the people who've been here since the beginning. I always welcome constructive feedback, including those from people who wanted to see more needle felt and clay. The truth is, when I started YouTube, there weren't a lot of videos on those topics. However, now there are tons of channels doing felting, clay or dollhouses, and I feel that for me it's just not very innovative anymore. My passion has always been finding new ideas that have never been done on YouTube and then sharing that with you guys first. So I hope most of you are still excited to see what there is to come on this channel, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye!